Okay, well, I'm glad you guys could be here tonight on the second Tuesday of the month when we have our Tower Talk. My name is Tammy Michelli. I'm a mom, a nurse, a grandma, and I am on a mission to get more plants into not only my body and my family's, but people around the world. And tonight, our focus is going to be about the Tower Garden. So to kick us off, just for ease, I'm going to play a quick little video by a man named Stephen Ritz. He is a phenomenal man, teacher in the Bronx, and he has transformed the kids and what's going on there. And I just have been so inspired by him and what he's doing. So let's see if I can find that video, and I will play it, and then we'll get into the rest of our presentation here. Okay, not this one. I don't want that. Let me see here. So many windows open here. You could tell I'm not a young person. Okay, I'm going to expand this. Can you guys see the screen with the video?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Who wants to play? All right. You're it.
My name is Stephen Ritz, and I am CEO, Chief Eternal Optimist of Bronx County.
We're gonna actually grow our own lunch. We're going to grow our own food today. We're gonna go from seed to plate.
A tower garden is like this plant, but you don't need soil. And then the water comes up, and then it comes down and rain on the roots.
Adults think you can't farm in the South Bronx. Tell it to these kids. They're farming. For so many, food is the problem. Yet for all of us, food is a solution. We have some of the highest rates of juvenile diabetes and juvenile obesity in the nation. And we can change that. We absolutely have the power to change schools in this generation.
I think I still see the seed.
That happens. Exactly.
You mean I can pass it around and they can see the seed
Absolutely.
in the plant?
My job is to teach kids how we can grow food. And I'm asking everyone to roll up their sleeves and get a little dirty and grow something greater.
He lets us plant stuff like salad, cucumbers, tomatoes.
My 4th and 5th graders came into a classroom with no windows to build a tower garden and literally turned it into a farm. And we talked about how healthy food builds healthy minds and healthy bodies, and where are we doing it? Right here in school.
So did everybody plant a seed?
The excitement and the joy that these little kids feel putting a seed in the ground and watching it blossom. OMG, as they say, this is their moment.
I think he cares about us a lot, and he wants us to learn and have fun at the same time.
I'm not a farmer, but I'm planting seeds.
He always says, like, seeds are like people because they need love, and they grow and grow and grow to be successful people.
To use 21st century technology to generate food and to create this beautiful thing to sit by that you can actually eat is game-changing. It's empowering. They're growing. The plants are growing, and they're responsible for it. And when they know they can grow their own, they really start changing the way they see their relationship to the world and their place in it.
Wait, you gonna eat it? Is it good? I love it. Thank you. Okay, we're gonna go back in the...
Okay. If you can, I would love for you to maybe just put a comment in the chat about if there was anything in there that stood out to you. And then we'll talk about that a little bit later. So it's pretty profound. So can you guys see this other screen that I have up too? It's a man in a shopping cart.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Okay, so the way he's taken those kids and had them grow and plant seeds and share with them, it's been really incredible. And just for your own information, Stephen Ritz has a show on PBS that he's airing now too with this ladybug, and just again educating kids and adults as well. So it's really great. So the next part of the presentation that I want to do, like I said, is a PowerPoint, and we're going to go through some slides, and some of it is just some kind of pictures that I've taken throughout the years too to share my journey. You can see behind me, I have my tower garden. The water is off right now, so you don't hear it flowing. And also the lights are off. These are grow lights behind me. But why grow a tower garden? What's the big deal? Well, if you look at this list right here, you can see that 60% of food eaten in the US is highly processed, and 75%, like I'm a nurse, I've been a nurse since the 80s, but I never knew this, 75% of disease is preventable with good nutrition. Like if that astounds you, like put a one in the chat. I mean, that's just so incredible to me. And why is that? It's because our food has changed so much. I have so many preservatives, less nutrients, because our lettuce and kale is coming from, California or other places and put on a truck and shipped here. And kale, by the way, is one of the top dirty foods. So if you get organic, that's one to get. But there's pesticides and all kinds of things added. Even our fruit, they add and they inject it with gases and chemicals to preserve it and to help it to ripen. So not a good thing. Okay. Okay, so this is another reason why our produce is lacking. This is spinach, a bowl of spinach. In 1953, you needed one bowl to get the same iron content as you do, and this was in 1997. Could you imagine what it's like in 2022? I mean, you need so many more bowls, again, because the soil is depleted and our food is lacking. And so we need to fill in the gaps because our body needs that. So what we're going to talk about tonight is a way to help bridge the gap and get some of that good nutrition into our body so we can help maybe prevent disease or push it off a bit. And that is through a tower garden. So a tower garden is a hydroponic, aeroponic garden. And you can see here, we have two different models. So the one in the green here on the left is what we call our home model. You can see it's much smaller and petite. It's on wheels and it's to grow mainly in the home. The one here on the right in the blue, that one we call our flex because you can grow that both in the home and outside. This one holds 20 gallons of water versus 13 gallons of water. And if you see behind me, I do have the flex. I actually have 3 of them. And so I'm going to be growing outside here soon. And then I'm going to experiment this year with a strawberry tower garden, all strawberry. So I just bought my seeds and we'll see how that goes. So it's nice to have that option. And so why the tower garden? Just a couple, I'm not going to go through this all, of course, but if you can see here, can you read what that says in the circle? Ben, would you read that for me?
Yeah. Recommended consumption, fill half your plate with fruits and vegetables.
Yes. Do you guys do that on a daily basis? Right? Thank you for sharing that. I mean, that's incredible. Half your plate and more vegetables than fruit. Most of us do just the opposite. It's either carbs or meats or bread, right? Bread and butter and stuff. So half your plate in fruits and vegetables. And then we know with the tower garden that it's aeroponic. So the roots aren't sitting in the water all the time. There's a point where the water filters through and then it's off for a point. And the tower garden itself is UV stabilized. It's BPA free, high quality food grade plastic made with FDA guidelines. And it was actually developed in Epcot along with NASA. So how cool is that? So this year, this is again, my journey of getting my tower started that is behind me right now. This is me because I do have wheels, but as you can see here, I do not have this one on wheels. I fill up my base with a bucket of water. Now there is a hose attachment. So if you have a wheel, you can wheel it to the sink, fill it up and push it back into place. But this is just how I do mine. And it looks pretty bare right now, right? And then what you do is these little rockwells, and you saw this on the video with the teacher. This is where you put the seeds. And this is actually a spun volcanic rock that comes from Iceland. So it's very good to use for the plants, and it keeps the plants really nice and contained within the tower. If you use soil, there is no soil in this tower at all. If you use soil, the soil would just go through the holes and be in the base and clog up the pump and be a big mess. So I soak these first, and then I plant my seeds. And you can see the little germination here. And what he talked again about on the video is when you see these seeds, you can actually sometimes see the actual seed itself that has split open and the plant germinating through. And it's really quite amazing. Some of these seeds you could barely see. They're so teeny tiny, and yet they grow into these big plants. And then this is, I finally learned to label my plants. So when I put them in my tower, I know what to put where. For many years, I did not do that. And it was kind of a guessing game until things started growing. So, and again, just some cute little pictures of germination. Kale is usually one of the first things to germinate, kale and lettuces. and they also have a quick turnover. Any ideas what this might be?
Chard.
Yes, Swiss chard.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Yes. So again, here's a Swiss chard plant. And I finally, there's, 3 different color chards that I know of, red and orange and yellow. And you can see my red chard here. But if you look over here on my rainbow chard, oh, the lights are off, but I don't know if you can see that. I actually, can you see
Yeah.
the yellow chard growing there?
Yeah.
I actually had a
Pretty.
yellow one. Usually when I get the rainbow charts, they're all red. So I'm excited to have a different color. So that's kind of fun. In chards, when you talk about plant powers, the roots on this, I never realized how strong they are. In our bodies, we need mostly plants in our life. One time I had a Swiss chard and I had, I think, 3 plants in there. And I went to look at my tower because it was looking kind of funny and off. There was a lot of growth, so I couldn't see that, like that line, this line right here very well. Well, what happened is these roots got so big, they actually separated
Oh,
the
wow.
tower, and there's a steel rod in there, but the roots are so strong, they actually lifted and separated the tower. So I mean, I was blown away. It's like, wow, it's pretty strong. Now, this is the same tower that's behind me right now. So those seeds, I actually planted them March 4th, and here we are today, April 12th, and look at where it's at. And I've been eating off of this already. There's
Wow.
certain things that aren't quite ready, like my lavender. Lavender is slower to germinate, but it's growing nicely. And then other things like my lettuces, I'm going to probably be making some salad in jars, and I'm going to start some new seeds for those. So when I take out some of my lettuces, I'll have something ready to replace them. And other types of lettuce, I have like 3 or 4 varieties in here. Some of those other lettuces I'll just cut and they'll grow back, and I'll cut and they'll grow back. And then eventually I'll replace those too, because after a while they get a little bit bitter. Any idea what this might be?
It's not basil, no.
No, I do have basil growing. This is watercress.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it's
what?
watercress.
Nice.
Watercress. Watercress is very high in omega-3s. And I love it. It's easy to grow. You can put it in my smoothies. I put it in salads. And then I always have enough that I'll make a watercress soup, which is delicious. And then I'll freeze some of that soup so I have a quick on-the-go meal as well. And some other benefits of watercress, are here. They do amazing things, this itty bitty little plant, but especially right now removes phlegm. I hate to talk about phlegm, but here we are with a lot of people dealing with coughs and bronchitis and stuff. It's kind of going around. So what better thing when we say food is our medicine, it really does a difference. Hippocrates said that many, many thousands of years ago, let food be thy medicine. And he said it for a reason. And like for kale, for example, 1 cup of kale contains 684% of your vitamin K. I mean, that's astounding. We don't always need vitamin supplements because we can get that from good food sources.
Yeah.
So a little twist for my tower. I like to grow it outside, and why not grow a flower garden, right? So I've done a couple of different flowers, but I love the way the marigolds, they just bloom all season very nicely. And it's just a nice burst of color for the front of my house. And of course it attracts butterflies and other, birds and insects. And so it's great fun. But marigolds are also good to plant like outside with other produce because they help keep some of the bad insects away that we don't want. So what happens? You have to keep that base filled with water. And if you don't, there's not enough water to water the plants. So this is that same plant. Do you see that?
Oh, boy.
Yep. If you forget to water your plants,
Ah.
does not look so good, right? And you might think it would be dead at this point, but a few hours later, it went back to looking just like this. I mean, it's really incredible. And it got me thinking, we talk about water and hydration in our body, and many of us are fatigued and we have headaches because we're dehydrated. So imagine your cells looking like this, and we wonder why we have no energy and why we can't go to the bathroom. And, so all we need to do is hydrate many times and our headaches go away, our energy picks up, and we go to the bathroom more easily. So I really thought that was a great visual to kind of compare to that. And then another picture of my tower. So this one, that really tall plant growing there, that's actually a zinnia plant that I started inside. And when I brought my tower outside, oh my gosh, it got to be so beautiful. It like bloomed all summer. So I'll probably grow that again this summer. And I also have a tomato plant in here that I tried, and I actually started getting some tomatoes inside. So tomatoes take up a lot of room, and I don't have a big house. So you need to kind of, if you look back at this, that white kind of cage thing, that helps support the tomatoes. And this is just a little peek inside the basin. Those are roots in there, you guys. It's like roots. So when I check this at this point, I'll go in and cut those because we don't want roots sitting in the water. But it's amazing how beautiful they are. And the Swiss chard has really pretty pink roots. So again, just some pictures of my different towers that I have.
Wow, look at all those tomatoes.
I know, it's so great. So when I grew it inside, I had to do some research because I am not a horticulturist and I didn't know how to pollinate my own tomatoes. So I had to Google this. So a female versus a male plant. If you don't know what you're pollinating, you're going to be pollinating the wrong way. And then I got, just for fun, I got this little, you could use like an electric toothbrush or a fan, but it's got a little bee. Isn't that cute? And you just buzz it and you hit the different flowers and pollinates. So when I actually had tomatoes last year in April, I was really excited because they were just so delicious. Some of my tomatoes I grew. And I grew cherry tomatoes and a bigger tomato, but the cherry tomatoes, of course, you always get more and they're just kind of fun. The next couple of pictures are just how you can see how versatile and how people enjoy this. So this is my twin sister who came in from Arizona. She is allergic to almost every fruit and vegetable there is, but she could not resist the tomatoes and she went ahead and ate one and loved it. So I was really happy. And then this is my granddaughter. And you can see people just come over and we talk around the tower and we laugh and have fun. And then this is my daughter because she's so silly. But again, all those tomatoes, and these are, I had tomatoes from April all the way up until probably September, October last year, because I started it indoors. And this is a friend of mine, Andy, again, just showing the love to the tower garden. He has the home tower and he only grows in his basement. And right now his tower is completely full. It's fuller than mine because he started it before mine. Another important thing, especially with Earth Day coming up the end of April, is sustainability. We have to preserve our environment. Otherwise, we're not going to have a place to live. So the tower garden is great for doing that. And these are just some of the things here. You can see under sustainability, it uses as little as 2% of water as traditional gardening. I mean, that's powerful and it recycles itself. So when I travel quite a bit. My tower inside, that water will last 2 to 3 weeks, sometimes even a little bit longer. So whoever is house sitting, all they have to do is eat from my garden and make sure the water stays at least above the pump. It leaves a smaller CO2 footprint. And that's really important. We don't want all the transmission from trucks and, cars going shopping at the grocery store, right, in our own cars, especially with the price of gas right now, right? Who wants to spend all that money? We can have our own produce, right, just a couple of feet away from our kitchen. It uses only 10% of the land of traditional farming. And it's a vertical design just for that reason. It's very compact. And it grows more produce a little bit more quickly. And there's actually research that shows that the nutritional content is just as good as if it were grown in the soil, and actually it grows a little bit better. And again, if all those nutrients and water are recycled, we have a nutrient blend that we add to the tower garden. We don't have to worry about what kind of plant we're growing. It's the same nutrients for anything, whether it's tomatoes or spinach or kale or green beans or peppers or whatever, which makes it easy. And then it's a reduced need for pesticides and herbicides. I've had very little problems with bugs on my tower garden. Inside, I start everything from seed. So if I do get a bug, it's because it came in from a plant somebody brought into the house, or if I ordered a seedling. I did that once. They're already pre-grown plants. So I just start everything from seed. So it's much, much less of a problem. And then I don't think I've ever, honestly, in my 6 or 7 years of growing, I don't think I've ever used a pesticide at all. So I don't have to wash my kale. Some of those produce, when you buy them at the store, they're loaded in dirt. And even though you think you wash it, you put it in your mouth and you still get a mouthful of soil. Has that happened to you guys ever? So this way you just pick it and eat it. A lot of the bugs actually come from the soil. Another way, when we talked about the CO2 footprint that we have, and that this is what we call an urban farm. And there's several of these throughout the United States. They're actually in Dubai and Hawaii as well. But these are several towers, and people will grow them in the desert. They'll grow them in the frigid cold, and people can come and get produce from here. So it's, very user-friendly, nice, healthy produce. Growing local is always better. We're supporting a community as well. So it's very cool. A lot of fun too. And then Tower Garden was named one of the best indoor gardens in 2021 as well. So very fun. So, all right. And then I wanted to introduce you to 4 of my best friends that are vegan, because again, we're all trying to get plants. I'm just going to take a few minutes to touch base on this very quickly. We need a lot of produce, but we also need to be getting the rainbow of the color. And if you look at the Tower Garden, other than maybe the tomatoes and some red Swiss chard and that, most of the produce is going to be green, unless you grow red peppers or yellows, zucchini or something outside. But we need to be eating that rainbow of color every single day. So one of the things that I have found that I've also been doing is called Juice Plus. And Juice Plus is simply fruits, vegetables, berries in a capsule. And then we have a plant-based omega as well. So there's no fish at all. It has eliminated that completely. And so I travel with these. They have been around the world with me. And then the capsules are very, very easy. And if you don't like taking capsules, you can open them up and put them in a smoothie or sprinkle them on your food. So look at that color every day. And every color does something in your body. And all of this produce on here is picked when it's vine ripened. That's when we get most of our nutrition. When you pick a green banana, it's not at 100% nutrition. And as soon as you pick it from the vine, it's losing all that all its nutrients as it's turning yellow. It's not getting riper. It's actually starting to do just the opposite. It's starting to rot, right? But it tastes good. But the same thing with our produce. If we could get things when they're vine ripen, we're getting more of the Ferrari car versus the Fred Flintstone car that was missing a lot of the pieces. Still gets you from point A to point B, but it's lacking. And so the news isn't that fruits and vegetables are good for you. It's that they are so good for you that they can save your life. And that was quoted back from 2003. And my granddaughters, they're quite a bit older now, but when you start living a mission like this and talking about health, my granddaughter made this for me. Got health? Go Juice Plus. And gosh, that made my heart melt. And so they actually help me with my Tower Garden. They plant the seeds. We make green drinks from there. We make smoothies. They take Juice Plus. So it's a whole family affair, and then we spread that out too. So that is the Tower Garden. It's super fun. And I think that's it. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to stop the recording and then we can stand and answer some questions in that. But thank you so much for being here. Talk to the person who invited you if you have questions more about the Tower Garden, or if you want to come see mine or somebody that you know locally, you can just ask and they can definitely share that with you as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wait, hold on.
Nice job.
I got it on my recording.